Around the world there are some epic cities. Like here in New York with massive skyscrapers and statues. And then some are more quaint, like my hometown in Dublin City. But regardless, all these cities are full with images and symbols. Some can be really complex, like random road signs that you just can't get your head around. But then others can be really simple, like your favorite advert or an iconic logo. Each one is trying to communicate something to us. There are some symbols we hate to see, like when we look down at our phones and see the dreaded 1% battery. But other symbols bring happiness, like that moment when you're out and about and suddenly get the urge to relieve yourself. You look around for a symbol of hope, and then when you see it, you do that awkward run towards freedom. Whether you live in a big city or even a town, amongst all other images and symbols, you'll find a symbol of a cross. It might be on a church, high-rise building, or just around people's necks. This Christian symbol carries with it a meaning. It speaks of a story that's still being told. Jesus died, and although it seems odd to a few, this matters to millions of people today. And while the symbol speaks of Jesus' death, the story doesn't end there. 3 days after Jesus died, stories began circulating that the tomb he was put in was found empty. So what happens? Where did the body go?
There's many possibilities to explain what happened the weekend of Jesus' death. Let's look at 4 of them. 1. Jesus survived crucifixion and fooled people into thinking he was resurrected. 2. The Roman or religious authorities took the body away. 3. The disciples stole it and then hid it. And 4. Jesus was actually resurrected from the dead.
Let's start with the crucifixion. Could Jesus have survived it? While we understand Jesus' significance today, he wasn't special in the eyes of the Roman Empire. They were taking over the known world, and Jesus was just another rebel, another revolutionary who had to be dealt with. He wasn't the first, and he wouldn't be the last.
The Romans had developed the most horrific and painful form of torture to deal with crime and rebellion. Once arrested, the guilty would be stripped, humiliated, beaten and flogged, a punishment so brutal and severe that many prisoners didn't even survive it.
You see, it wasn't just enough to simply end their lives. They had to do so in a way that would put fear into the hearts of those around them, especially those that followed them. Their enemies had to die painfully and slowly. Practice makes perfect, and by the time they got their hands on Jesus, they had created what they would consider to be their masterpiece, crucifixion.
Those who had the misfortune of surviving the flogging had to carry their cross, that they would be nailed to through their wrists and ankles. This was usually done in a public place, like a crossroads, where they would hang as a symbol that told the common people that the accused was defeated, and that Rome always wins. The wounds themselves were not actually what killed the victims though. Death would come eventually through heart failure, as it struggled to pump blood from an impossible body position to limbs that were nailed to wood but had no way of holding the body up straight. In his Gospel, John describes Jesus' final moments and writes that Jesus breathed his last. To make sure he was dead, a Roman centurion stabbed him in the side, and when he did, blood and water poured out.
This might seem like an unimportant detail, but it's actually crucial. What John didn't know then is what we know now because of the likes of the Irish scientist Samuel Houghton. In the 19th century, his research proved that when the left side of a body is pierced by a blade after death, water, followed by the flow of blood, proved and confirmed that fluid had built up around the heart and that the heart had stopped. John didn't know the science, he just knew what he saw, and what he saw was that Jesus was dead.
The idea that Jesus never died on the cross asks us to believe that a man could survive Roman flogging, a crucifixion from the world's most professional execution force, a spear through his heart, push away a huge stone, fight his way past a small army of guards, and then appear to his disciples as the picture of health. This explanation also requires Jesus to be the greatest con man of all, creating the greatest lie, Christianity.